Hey, welcome to the RIOT podcast. I would just like to point out that today is day 2 of me being here.
Hey.
And I also want to point out that we're going to become so used to it that we'll stop mentioning it.
We won't even remember the time that Obi's been broadcasting from home for so long.
No.
He's back in the studio. Yesterday, if you missed it, we mentioned we were doing an after show for our RIOT anniversary. You can watch that when you're done with the podcast, a RadioU RIOT on Facebook, or if you go on YouTube, that's our channel. So just find and subscribe to us there and then watch us for more RIOT with the podcast.
So today we talk about the absence of anniversary cake, which, you know what, it's fine.
It's cute. A lot of you guys were offering, to send us some if you're in the area, but, it's totally fine. We don't have to have cake all the time.
Just for anniversaries, but I mean,
well, yeah,
I'm sorry. There, I'm doing it again.
We had
I'm doing it
Swiss
again.
cake rolls, so we did have a cake, even though not in its other form.
A Swiss cake roll contains cake, but is not cake.
Sure.
You understand what I mean?
I understand.
They're in a family.
It's just a cake rolled up.
Okay, let's see. What is a kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, species? I'm going to say they're in the same genus even, but they're not the same species. No. Need a birth. Maybe they are in the same family as the genius of birthday cake. And then,
we at least had
nomenclature,
something.
We need to sit down with Carl von Linné, who's dead, and talk about, the proper naming of this. Anyway, I'd like to have a cake.
Okay, gotcha.
All right. Let's see. Pacific Rim, the anime, launches today. We talk F9, avoiding spoilers. A BB stuck in your nose. Oh, man. Just feels like something that would happen to me.
What makes you worried?
What else is stuck in you right now?
Yeah, like what's stuck and that you just don't know about? Like maybe when you were a kid, did you put stuff up your nose?
Do you have a crayon in there right now?
What's there?
Porsche electric bikes, TikTok videos that show me how to build a DVD wall. Thanks for sending that in. Defrauding the post office. I actually talk about, what did I watch? Dawn of the Dead? We weren't
Day
going
of the
there.
Dead?
No,
Dawn of the Dead? Okay.
Days next.
Well, there's too many. There's way too many similarly sounding zombie movies.
Being mad about being mad, Transformers at home, Apple at home. Mm-hmm. So it's actually kind of a loaded podcast. Doesn't mean it's good. Just means it's
there.
long.
Sometimes the more you put on there, too, you can't tell if it's good or bad because there's just so much content. You're thankful for it.
You're just like, you know what? It's the buffet. It's the buffet. All right.
Might not be good food, but there's
sure
plenty
is a lot
of it. So come on through the line.
Sure is a lot. I'm comfortable with that. You guys enjoy the podcast.
I feel like that's an upcoming RIOT liner. Something about us being the buffet.
I'll tell you, it's going in the show description
not
for today.
Not very good. There's a lot of it, and there's rolls as well. So,
honey butter, right? Come on. All right. Enjoy the show, guys.
Bye.
It's the worst of the RIOT on RadioU.
So yesterday, Nikki and I celebrated the show anniversary with an after stream, which you can see an after show that we streamed at our YouTube channel or on our Facebook page. I want to say hi to Ashley. She was texting this morning asking about it. So if, like her, you missed it live, it's okay.
You can watch it anytime this weekend, and that's located at RadioU. So if you search on Facebook or YouTube, that's where you can find it.
The only thing this year has been very underplayed for our anniversary. We normally do something a little bigger, but because of someone, we won't name names, Obadiah has been out and
There's
inconsistent.
Only two, and we just want to make sure that everybody was feeling okay.
Yeah. But I feel like we got cheated a little bit. There was no cake.
There had been
no cake, no balloons.
There'd been talk of cake, but we weren't even sure up to the day before.
I know.
So we were just like, well, let's just skip the cake since we had other stuff. So
I know.
We could always just get a cake next week just because it doesn't have to be, for a party.
Right. It could just be, Tuesday cake.
Yeah. We've never tried Monday cake.
It's true. And I don't want to sound ungrateful. I got a free lunch yesterday. It was delicious. It was this sesame chicken and then a teriyaki chicken with some rice. And it sounds simple, but you know what? It was delicious.
It was hearty.
It was so good. I ate that. I didn't eat again until 7:30 last night. I was just it was so good. Now, again, all that being said, I just woke up this morning. I was like,
Aww.
I should be going into leftover cake right now.
Sure, we should have some. You're right. We always do.
I'm not saying that we need to get it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. You see the difference?
You're missing it.
I just noticed its absence. But in talking about it, we're just dealing with the emotional implications. I guess what I'm saying is I'm not asking you to fix it. I'm just sharing my emotions.
You're just sharing. And you know what's funny? I was like, oh, yeah, I'm sure we'll be fine because, we just weren't sure. But now next year, I'll be like, no, we cannot not have cake. We are not able to.
Cake.
We'll just have cake another day, but we're going to have something.
We'll have a standby cake like on order. Like,
Every year for the anniversary.
Just make sure they know that.
It was wonderful to always have like Thursday night cake because normally we would do a Thursday night thing. And then Friday you'd have a little bit. You'd still be tired and full from the night before.
But you'd still eat cake.
And then you would take some home into the weekend.
Yep.
And that was even more special.
Yep.
Weekend home cake is even better than Friday work cake.
It's special.
Oh, well, and we've been to the break room. There's not some sort of cake in there. We just didn't know.
No.
There's no cake.
So, it's fine. Like I'm okay with it. I really am okay with it. But there's this little part of me that's just like, oh.
Hey, it's okay to be disappointed, all right?
It is okay.
It's okay. It's healthy.
It's okay to not be okay. It's fine.
You thought they were bad live? Well, just wait until you hear this. The Worst of the Riot podcast with Obadiah and Nikki.
You know what sounds like a lot of fun? Stealing from Home Depot.
I don't know. Maybe it's not. Maybe the person thought it was going to be, and it's actually not.
So we're going to be super judgy today? Is that what we're doing?
It's a Friday. All right, we're tired. We're judgy.
All right.
I just feel like stealing sometimes seems like a lot of work, and it feels almost like the same amount of work as if you just worked for the money to buy it.
I don't disagree with that. And, kudos to some of you for putting a lot of effort into something that you think is going to pay off. But as Nikki said, you could redirect some of that effort. You'd be amazed at where you could go with it.
If not, it seems like small return for a greater risk.
Yeah. Well, this is, I think, a pretty good scheme that old Dusty White had going in Panama City, Florida.
Yeah.
He was at Home Depot, and he had a U-Haul truck out front. And he got himself one of those Home Depot schmucks.
Yeah. Did he pretend to be an employee?
He pretended to be an employee loading up for someone that was getting some stuff.
Yeah.
So he's loading up the U-Haul, and eventually somebody's like, who is this guy?
Did we hire someone new? I mean, I know a lot of places are hiring.
So now he's charged with all kinds of stuff. Grand theft, scheme to defraud. Wouldn't it be scheme to fraud? Defrauding,
yeah.
and I always have a hard time with that word. Resisting arrest without violence, and then, okay, this clears some things up. And possession of meth.
I see. It's so clear now, right?
Sometimes it makes you a little overconfident.
So he wasn't stealing for like quality or like for his own home. He was stealing just to sell it real fast, probably for cash.
Quick turnaround.
Yeah, real quick turnaround. Whereas we work hard, get our little bit of money.
For our money.
Go to Home Depot. The risk is, will we like what we bought? And if not, we just return it. Like, woo. But that's it. That's all we got to worry about.
All right. So, man, sounds great.
One seems easier than the other.
Yes.
But a lot of people fall back on the other, so.
The meth or the Home Depot?
The meth.
Okay.
And the Home Depot.
In fairness, I feel like both of them are a bad choice.
Yeah. All right. So he got caught and he's in trouble.
Yeah, he's got all kinds of stuff. But, man, what a ride, right? And what a great idea. Okay.
You can buy people's clothing, uniforms and stuff. That's something that people do in the equip place.
I had, where I worked at a record store in high school, they had, let's just say that we had a couple of guys that were working there that the money they were getting from the job was really just a supplemental. Their main job was being there helping people steal things from them. So they were the guys inside grabbing stuff and getting it out, and then other people would grab it.
I wonder if some places, if you worked, you have to turn your uniform back in, so there's less chance.
No, a lot. Well, I guess it just depends.
You're buying it a lot of times.
The store I worked at, it was you could either wear the smock or you could buy the shirt.
I see.
So, and I did both. At some point, I worked there for so long, I was like, I'll buy the shirt. And then I was like, why did I do this?
Well, it'd be awesome if you still had the shirt.
I don't think I do.
The definition of insanity is putting the riot on again and again and expecting a better result. It's the Worst of the Riot on RadioU.
I'm going to have to ask a close personal favor out of all of you. And you in turn may want to go ask this very same personal favor from other people in your own life. What if all of us, if we all agreed not to watch that stupid Meghan Markle thing on Sunday?
Yes. Okay. If we don't watch it, then they're like, oh, people must not care. And that's correct. That is absolutely correct. Thanks for bringing this up.
I am bringing it up. And I'll tell you what got me was yesterday I was in a group of people where someone unironically was like, I cannot wait
they were
to
really
see that on Sunday. And I was just like,
they were really interested in watching.
Oh, gosh.
See, we don't care.
Oh, gosh.
We don't care for them or even Oprah. So, like, I don't want to do any of that.
I know.
It's just not our thing. I don't like the noise.
It's just like bring together media figures who you don't want to listen to Meghan Markle. No. And who would you like to listen to even less?
There you go.
Oprah. What if we put them together?
And I'm not saying they're not lovely people. I just don't want to hear all that. Just don't want to.
I'm not. Okay, exactly. I am not attacking them as human beings.
Yeah.
As human beings, live your life, do your thing. If life in the palace was hard, sorry, I can't say that with a straight face. You know what? I'm sorry. And I hope that life in L.A., where you do what you want all the time, is better. Like, I hope it is. And for Oprah, the person.
Sure.
Okay?
That was a good way to put that.
Okay. But, like...
Put it together. It's even worse.
As a media thing, I just am so tired of hearing about it. And again, I know this sounds like stupid and whatever, but like as Americans, did we not decide collectively hundreds of years ago, our great whatever grandparents decided we thought the palace sucked and we were going to go somewhere they didn't have one? Seriously, we did. We were like, this is a terrible thing, whatever. And now an American goes off, marries into the family, and is like, man, it sucks over there. I'm coming back. And
you make it special about it.
And so now we got to listen to it. And now they're like, she's bullying. And she's like, they're mean. And I'm like, who cares?
There it is. So...
But people care. Like, there's so many people caring.
I know, but
unironically interested.
It's like movies, okay? It's when you watch something or that new show, you're watching it, and that's a vote for it. So even if you're curious, just remember that even that quick click, if you give them the streaming count, it shows, and they think that means
there's an audience for this.
Yeah, exactly. And then they'll just keep going and making more stuff.
The hard part is there is an audience for that. And I think
it's smaller than they think it is.
Oh, I don't think so.
Oh, I think it is. It has to be.
No, I don't.
It has to be.
I am telling you, Nikki, I grew up in a beauty shop, okay? Like, my mom ran a beauty shop, and
does your mom want to watch it?
I'll bet she does.
Well, you ask her.
I can imagine. That's just the thing is, like, I can imagine that place. Friday afternoon, I get off of school. I'm in 6th or 7th grade. I get in there, and that's all they're talking about.
That's because they're bored in there, but it doesn't mean you have to actually go watch it. They're
cackling and smoking and getting their hair done. They're having a great time.
All right. Well, just a reminder. It's Sunday, right?
What is it
even on?
Maybe it's not.
What is it even on?
I actually think it's on CBS.
CBS? Okay.
I think.
Well, I can't watch live stuff unless it's sports, so I'm not interested. So. That's not the game. It is a game, but it's not the game.
It's a no-holds-barred interview.
I can't. No.
It's like a cage match of interviews.
Oh, I don't even like the promotional stuff ahead of time. It's just so created, and especially us in the industry, we see what all that is, and it is trying to get you to have an emotional response to it. Ours is just the other way.
I think maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's the real problem at the heart of this is that you and I are at the magician show, and we're magicians. And we're just like, oh, gosh,
every line they say, go. Even down to the lighting and the set design, it's all created to get something out of you.
It was bad enough the first time around, but now it's worse. Don't believe us? Just keep listening. You'll find out soon enough. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Nikki, it just occurred to me right now in this very moment.
What?
That Pacific Rim anime should be out today.
Hey, the Pacific Rim, the Black, right?
The Black, yeah. Man, where's the Netflix icon? I have so much crap on my phone.
You need to organize.
So I don't even know if I need to organize. I probably need to clean out. And the last time I cleaned out, I probably just ended up watching YouTube.
I bet you haven't used it yet. But remember, they have you can hide the apps now, like in the library. And then you can just delete an app if you want.
So let's see. How is it not listed as popular on Netflix? Oh, it's trending now. Here we go.
At least it's there.
That's something, right? After kaiju ravage Australia, 2 siblings pilot a Jaeger to search for their parents. Well,
that'll do.
7 episodes, about half an hour each.
Perfect. That's not too big of a commitment this weekend.
Yeah. What they've discovered is that essentially...
And it's animated, so...
Yeah, it's animated. They basically make a 2-hour movie that they break into 7 or 8 chunks. Because once you take the intro, outro, and recap off of it, your 23-minute episodes are 19 minutes.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But do you feel more satisfied if you're watching a show at this point now, or would you just rather it be a movie?
No,
I think I feel happier if it's in a series.
I agree with you just because as we have discussed, my attention span continues to shrink like a Chipotle burrito. And
high five, good one.
Right? And I just find myself like tiny little bites are the answer.
But it could have just been one main movie that they just edited and made into those 7 episodes.
That's correct. And you know what? Fine with it.
Either way, you got something new today.
Fine with it. So there's that. And
quick poll. Anybody going to be watching the Pacific Rim 7 episode
nobody's watching
animated series coming out today? It's trending.
You and I both know that right now there's going to be like 2 people that are going to text and everybody else is like, Pacific Rim, you mean like Hawaii?
Yeah.
No, Japan?
It's like, what?
What is that?
They don't even remember.
Is that a new soda?
Well, if you are going to, or if maybe we, return on Monday, we can all remember if anybody watched it to let us know our thoughts.
Yeah.
Maybe the Riot would sound better if they spent less time improving their lives at their gym. That was sarcasm. It's the Riot on RadioU.
Let's talk delays, Nikki. All right. Delays include F9. Fast and Furious 9.
So that's been delayed. It was supposed to be out last spring. And then they're like, fine. They're one of the movies, if I recall, that went ahead and skipped by 2 years. Instead of trying to release like this year, they said, it'll be next year.
Okay. So that's what I thought too.
Yeah.
But
now are they like confirming that?
No, they were saying it's supposed to be out this Memorial Day weekend.
No way.
I thought it had been bumped all the way to 2022.
You're right. Maybe they weren't as vocal about that, but yeah, I remember they were going to wait another whole year outside of everybody else just pushing back by a few months or by a year.
I'm telling you that now.
We already knew this postponement.
F9 is coming out June 25th of this year.
I don't know. I thought it was next year.
Nikki, you want to argue with Variety? Is that what you want to do?
I actually don't care enough to argue with them about it. Either. It's all right. Okay, so it's coming out June of this year?
Yeah.
All right. Well, yay. Okay.
I wonder, is anybody excited about it? I'm sure there are, but I will say there are some things that if I had, which is not great English, but if I had experienced an uninterrupted flow of movies, I would have been first in line to see F9.
Yeah.
Now that I've gone a while without an F, I find myself like, I don't know if I need more Fast and Furious. If you asked me at the end of F8 if I did, I would have said, of course.
Oh, you loved them. You knew they weren't the best, but they were entertaining to watch.
But now I'm finding myself in a position where I'm like, well,
maybe.
You know what it comes down to? I don't like the new guy from the WWE.
The Rock?
No,
Dwayne Johnson?
No, the other one.
Oh, we'll figure it out. What's his name?
He's the guy, the guy.
You're going to have to give me John Cena?
John Cena.
Is that it?
That's
you don't like
guy.
him? Okay.
I don't. He was so bad in that Transformers movie. I mean, like terrible. Like, the movie stopped and got weird when he was on screen because you were like, wait a minute, is this a screen test?
Well, it's not like...
Did they just edit this back in?
It's not like Vin Diesel and the rest are the best. I mean,
just...
Again, they like to put a lot of flash to it to make up for some of the shortcomings.
Man, I could watch The Rock, like, unwrap silverware, and I'm like, this is a good movie. I like this movie. It's good.
I think sometimes he's the exception when it comes to crossover talent stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's the deal. A couple of other things that got the Minions sequel that was supposed to be out this year.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't know it existed. It's not going to be out until next year. And then there's something else that got bumped. Peter Rabbit 2.
Oh, and now.
But that's been moved up from mid-June to May.
To this May?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think they just don't care. So,
you just,
shouldn't that be around Easter?
I don't know. Rabbits,
the Peter
Easter.
Rabbit?
Isn't that like some kind of stereotyping?
I think that's just knowing your market.
Aren't you being culturally insensitive on some level by saying rabbits have to be out at Easter?
Well, I just think it's helpful. And it's probably something that would be around that same time. You're fine. You're right. Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't want
to,
rabbits can
anybody.
only exist once a year. There's a whole community of rabbits that are trying to be recognized the entire year.
Never mind.
Did you see the original Peter Rabbit?
I've not seen that, no.
Yeah, me either. Oh, and then today I actually did forget that Raya and the Last Dragon that hits the
Disney
it's
Plus?
in theaters today, but it's also on Disney Plus. And then supposedly on May 7th, we're going to get to see the Black Widow movie. That's still supposed to happen. We'll see.
I feel like our entertainment news is one long trip with your parents, and it's a lot of we'll sees. That's all it is. Everything's a we'll see.
No, you know what it is?
Or we might go home and watch it because we're turning the car around.
No, it's like hanging out with kind of a deadbeat dad. He's like, and next weekend when I pick you up, we're going to Disneyland. And you're like, yay, that's so exciting. And then your dad calls on Tuesday. Yeah, son, we've moved the Disneyland trip to 2022.
Oh, that hurts. That absolutely hurts.
But we're still going, right, Dad? Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what
we're doing it.
That's what movies are right now.
Yeah! You were one of the lucky few who missed the riot when they were live. Yet here you are.
I also like to live dangerously.
This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Man, I almost bought a kayak yesterday.
Well, that's just out of nowhere, I feel like.
I did this slow roll past a sporting goods store.
Oh, and they were outside.
Stacks of them.
Yeah.
They were everywhere. And then I ended up at Costco where they also had a kayak. And I was just like, you know what? I should just buy a kayak. And I'll become a kayak guy.
That's why they advertise these things the way they do, because you're just walking past. You're like, well, that seems pretty good. I think I will get that.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's be kayak people. You know,
But you enjoyed kayaking a year or so ago. You went,
loved it.
Yeah, so I mean, it wouldn't be weird. Why don't you just get one to kayak around on the weekends?
Yeah, because I won't. That's what I kept thinking is, this sounds like fun, but then I got to get some way to attach this kayak to my car.
You strap it to the roof.
Yeah. So, all right, now we're strapping the kayak to the roof. And then I got to drive. I don't even know how far to find some place.
Got to get your sticker for it.
Yeah, you start looking into all the things you got to do. And then you can have fun kayaking. And then what happens? I get out there and I'm like, what am I doing? Let's just bring it back to the thing.
It's too late at that point.
Yeah. Yeah, and so I'm just going to go ahead and think negatively about it up front, save myself the $300, and not go kayaking.
Well, there is something to that. Plus, you're still healing. Like, it is more physical than you think it is. And you don't want to get out there and get tired.
It's a great workout. No, I don't. I'm telling you guys, I'm like one of those COVID long haulers. I bought a bike a couple weeks ago, which when you stack that up next to the kayak, it makes it sound like I have a problem. Like buying bikes and
You're
kayaks.
just trying. You're trying, and that's fine.
I do think I'm going to get my bike out again today, but I biked like 2.5 miles last week, and I got home, and I was like, I got to lay down.
I can't do it.
I'm so tired.
Imagine being on the water and having that happen there, just being stuck and then having to haul in the kayak and put it back on your car.
Yeah.
So you're right. This season, why don't you just stick with bike riding?
Or just stay on the bike?
I think so.
All right, that's fine. All right.
But if you want us to think about buying your item, stick it outside as we walk by.
Because you never know.
Yeah, you might have a chance to get it.
Yeah, I don't want to. Okay, real talk. Like I read this article the other day that was about pursuing happiness, and it was a study in regards to people and the kind of pastimes they have.
Yeah.
And a passive pastime would be watching TV or taking a nap. Passive. Active pastime would be playing an instrument, kayaking, basically doing an activity rather than just kind of sitting and letting an activity roll over you. And they said that while people who are like, you each have, like you'll achieve the same level of happiness in certain moments, but active pursuits lead to more incidents of happiness. So, like, if you got really happy watching a show and I got really happy in a kayak, our happiness level would be about the same, but I would have more of those happy incidents or accidents, Bob, on a kayak than I would sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been thinking about, and then I took a nap. So
on the couch. So.
Yeah.
We would give the Riot flowers to show our appreciation, but Obadiah's probably allergic. What isn't he allergic to? This is the Riot on RadioU.
I don't know if anybody else is in the same position I am, but I didn't stay up until 3 a.m. Eastern to watch the WandaVision finale.
I do know a couple of people who are ready to go for that. You guys are just amped up about it.
As a result, I feel like I have to go on some kind of a social media blackout until I can rush home and first thing, no matter what,
You
watch
watching
WandaVision.
it today?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, okay.
Last week, there was a reveal at the end of the episode. And I managed to get through. I saw nothing. Nothing on Twitter, nothing whatever. And then, was it Friday afternoon? I decided to just before, it was like I was warming up. I hit the YouTube app on my Apple TV first. And then I was going to hit up Disney Plus and watch WandaVision, thinking somehow I would be safe on YouTube. And somebody made the image the freaking thumbnail.
Spoiler?
Yeah.
Aww.
And it was just like, what are you doing?
Well, I figured getting people mad at them would get them to at least be following them or more traction with their video. So, not surprised. Disappointed, but not surprised.
It made me mad. Because, I mean, look.
You thought you were safe there.
At the very least, if you want to have a thumbnail like that, could you give it a couple days? I mean,
blur part of it out, make it a mystery.
It's like 2 or 3 o'clock Eastern on a Friday afternoon. I mean, conceivably, people haven't gotten done with work and or school, and they're home. Like, could you just give us? I mean, come on, give me 12 hours to try to get there.
So you need to remain spoiler free today.
I am ready to practically give it up, because that's the other thing is like so many of the headlines that I've seen, I'm like, well, they've heavily hinted at, I mean, that headline alone, they're like, it's not a spoiler, but wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You're like, oh, man, really? Like, did you have to do that? It's like, what did we do? We didn't do anything. Want to click it? You should click. You know, we're ad driven. Click, click, click.
Click, just please, pretty please.
Please click, please click.
Well, just try to do your best and wait till whenever you get to WandaVision.
Yeah, so I am going to do my best, but I've just gone ahead. I feel like when I saw that thumbnail on YouTube, part of me died inside enough to where I was just like, I'm going to do my best, but I'm done really trying.
Yeah, I don't care as much.
I'm done trying, because the harder I try, just the more likely it is that I'm going to end up getting spoiled.
Well, even though we're not in over the weekend, you can still text us, and then we'll see it when we come back on Monday. But you guys' favorite thing to do on Mondays is to text us about WandaVision from Friday. So don't forget to do that this weekend if you liked the ending or disappointed or happy or sad that it was, the finale for tonight. Let us know what you thought about it. Just text sometime this weekend.
Maybe we should just go ahead and plan on Monday. We'll have a little discussion
recap.
about it. Oh, dude, Joel says, I know your pain. If it's not the internet, it's a family member text. And he's right, because last week it was YouTube that spoiled it for me, that thumbnail. 2 weeks before that, it was one of you great people, a listener, who messaged me assuming that I would have seen it already.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen it yet. And I was just like, oh my gosh.
You got to be careful. Be very careful with it.
I just see it as one of those things where, like, hey, it's a weekly show, just give it a couple of days. Like, it doesn't have to be that you can never talk about it. But I mean, when it's the middle of the workday, when it launched at 3 a.m., I mean, come on.
Hey, some people enjoy spoiling it for others.
I know. They're terrible people. And one day they'll be punished.
The Riot really wanted to do this live, but now they can play video games and eat rice cakes instead. This is the worst of the Riot podcast.
Do you or someone you love blow their nose and then the room fills with, and I quote, a foul odor?
Well, what's happening then? Is that something medical or what is it?
It's like you think somebody, well, here's another quote, a pungent, foul odor filled the room when this guy would blow his nose.
Why?
He's 15. Mm-hmm. Well, that's what they had to figure out. It's like, okay, it sounds like you have seasonal allergies. You get a lot of sinus infections. Hey, right here. You know, I've been there, done that. But what we can't figure out is, why does it smell like death farted every time you blow your nose? We can't figure it out.
Is he farting when he blows his nose?
He's
so
not.
It really is coming from his nose.
Yeah. And so
is there something there?
They stuck a camera up there, and here's what they found. They found a BB that had been stuck in his nose for 8 years.
A BB? Like
from a gun.
Like a BB gun?
Yeah.
That would smell like that?
Well, see, it stays up there, and it gets infected, and like all of that kind of stuff.
So his nose was infected the whole time.
Yeah. So he had turbinate hypertrophy, which when I had my nasal surgery, they cut up my turbinates so they were smaller, but they grow back after a while. So you still get a little stuffy.
So is that cause congestion and stuff? Or if you cut them, then it opens your nose up so you can breathe better? Yeah.
So wait a minute. So it was when he was 15, they went in there and they did the camera thing, and they were like, oh, you've just got swelling. So they gave him, what is it? The nose spray, but it's not like the addictive kind. It's the
Afrin is the only.
When your muscles get big,
steroids?
And you take steroids, the steroidal spray. Gosh,
I love that game. What do I win?
So then eventually they did a CT scan, and they were like, hey, there's a 9mm spherical structure inside your nasal cavity. And they were like, oh, remember that time we couldn't find the BB?
It's in your nose.
What?
Weird. So that got infected. That was the smell. And he's been living with that for all that time.
Yeah.
Gross. So could he say he could smell it too?
I guess so.
Or is it just when he sneezed or blew his nose?
Yeah, like anytime something would pass out of his nose, everybody was like, oh, you reek, bro.
Well, that was good probably for his self-esteem. Just
amazing.
Great.
It's amazing.
So he's good now? No smell anymore? No infection? No BB in the nose?
Yep. So it's crazy. It was lodged underneath you have all these kind of folds in your sinuses.
Yeah.
And so they said that it just got lodged under there. So even with that camera up there, they didn't see it.
The first time?
It took the x-ray in order for them to spot it.
I know that the doctors probably did their best with it, but sometimes it's frustrating when you hear those stories and the guy obviously still had a problem, and you're like, hey, you don't want to push him, but I think there's still maybe something in the nose.
Well, the thing is, though, aside from the foul odor that came out of his nose, he just had, what would you call, the allergies. Seasonal allergies and sinus infections.
Well, the smell should have been enough.
Someone that's lived that life, I can tell you, they're just like, here, take this, do that, see you later. It's not that they don't care. It's just that,
There's just no fixing what's wrong with you except to medicate it every so often.
Well, hey, you know what? That is, when I went to my doctor 2 weeks ago, I basically had what this guy just had. They're like, something's not right. Why don't we take a look at your sinuses? Big time. So you went inside the cool machine that was like, wah, wah, future hospital, wah. But I didn't have any BBs.
Are you sure? You take this article to them, you'd be like, no, there's something still up there.
Are you sure?
I told him maybe when you had your nose surgery, they left something up there.
So far, so good. I mean, you don't think they saw something and just lied to me about it, do you?
Maybe it wasn't the right time to tell you.
You're listening to The Riot. Let's all work together today to live life with the patience of a Nikki dealing with an Obadiah.
Gotta hang in there and get through it.
You're listening to The Riot.
Nikki, who is it that sent us this video here? The DVD catalog?
Andy sent it to us through our Facebook page, which you guys can message us at RadioU RIOT. He was kind enough to ask about if that looks like your collection of movies that you have at home.
He sent us a TikTok of this guy's movie collection. Says he's been collecting for 15 years or something like that. And the answer is like yes and no. My collection is not that big.
Yeah.
This guy is clearly buying almost anything. Now, if you came to my house, you'd be like, you just buy anything, don't you? And I actually don't.
There is a method to Obi's movie madness, a collection style. This guy's just been collecting since he was really young. And you're right, it does look like he just has a lot of everything.
Yeah, and so he has, I can't even tell how many shelves it is, but he says that he has them almost like a video store divided up by genre, and then they're alphabetized inside the genre.
But with the TikTok, it was about the shelves too. Like it really made a difference to put his movie collection kind of out there on these shelves. So it looked neat organization wise. Like it looks like some old school movie store.
I have mine on shelves in what I call the back, which is I've got a partially finished basement and then I have a part that's not finished. And so I keep them back there. But I have thought about buying a shelf.
I think you should.
That where they would kind of be out front and you could see them.
I think you would enjoy seeing them more because that's like where your office is and you watch movies. I think you'd like to see them. I think it would not necessarily keep you from buying more because I don't think it would do that, but I think it would just give you a bigger appreciation for what all you do have.
For what's there.
Yeah, and then you'll maybe watch more of them more often.
Well, one of the things that I've been thinking about is if you guys go back and watch any videos that I have done from my basement, you can see like I've got posters on the one wall and then I have a painted brick wall on the far side of it. And I have been thinking about getting one of those huge wall treatments that's like a massive poster, but it just covers the entire wall.
Yeah.
I've thought about doing that because I thought, that would look pretty good on camera. The other thing that I've thought about doing is putting that DVD shelf there.
Yeah.
So in the background, you would just see an enormous shelf of Blu-rays and stuff. And then I've also thought about just doing nothing at all and sitting there.
So what do you think you should do? 1, 2, or 3?
What do you feel?
I think you should maybe keep an alert out if some shelves go on sale because those can be expensive, but you would enjoy it so much more having it out.
I was surprised by how expensive they were.
Yeah.
When I looked at like a unit that would hold essentially, I think it was like somewhere between 400 and 600 Blu-rays and it was like $150, $200.
Or just go to IKEA. Just set it up.
No, IKEA is not that much better.
Be mad setting it up.
Yeah. Okay.
Then
I'm angry now.
Have your movies out and just, hate that you had to put that together.
Yeah.
You might be thinking that this won't be quite as bad the second time around. Well, you'd be greatly mistaken. You're listening to the worst of the Riot podcast.
I've mentioned that I purchased a bike recently, and I just made such a huge mistake when I bought
Purchasing the bike?
Well, yeah, because I bought a bike when isn't it like this? You buy something and then immediately that next thing comes out that you would have rather had.
Yeah.
Well, here it is. Porsche is putting out an electric bike this year.
Oh, and you could have had that.
The Taycan Cross Turismo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure the price might have been a bit different than what you got. If you want to put a price tag on these healthy happiness things.
Yeah. It can go up to 15 miles per hour. That seems kind of fast, right?
Yeah, it does. That'll work, though.
Okay. It has high-quality suspension components meant to provide a balanced ride on asphalt and or other gentle terrain. Or you can get the e-bike Cross. It's meant for rougher roads. And it has a hydraulically adjustable seat post for quick seat height changes. They're available in 3 sizes. That's the part that's great. You can go to the Porsche dealer and actually almost afford something. Just kidding.
Not this. So am I reading this right? The sport one of it, it weighs less than 48 pounds.
Wonderful.
Which for an e-bike is actually impressive. It'll set you back $10,700. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, well, that is, let's see, 5, 10. That's about 5,000% more than I paid for my bike.
So
Or
the other one,
it'd be 500% more.
the other one is 48.7 pounds, and it'll cost you $8,549 from Porsche if you'd rather have that e-bike.
What a savings.
That's cheaper. That's the better one.
A savings.
So they're expensive, but I mean, what'd you expect? And then if not, if you don't want the Porsche one, Harley Davidson, they still have an e-bike as well.
Right, but it's not as much.
I think it is. Well,
I thought it was like 3,000 or 4,000.
Gosh, it's funny when you're like, yeah, that's a lot less. That one ranges $3,399 to $5,000.
Yeah, so they unveiled the bikes along with the Taycan Cross Turismo, which is a crossover vehicle that has larger cargo space, and it will be available in a few different variants, starting at $91,000.
Wow, I'll take the off-brand one. It doesn't need to be the same as a car brand. We can't afford that.
You know what? It's fine.
It's okay.
Really, what is a car for? Getting you from point A to point B.
Mm-hmm. Now your bike can do that with the same price tag as your car.
Exactly.
Is it healthy eating so many snacks, chips, and Oreos every single morning? No, of course not. But they do it for you.
Too many guys got the stomach for this line of work.
That's real love. It's the Riot on RadioU.
Nikki, how fast does the internet have to be? And let's be clear, they say speed, but it's really about, broadband and bandwidth is about size.
Sure.
But it's also speed. It's
a combination of factors.
It is. So what would you consider to be broadband? Because there's an actual definition of it.
I don't know. What would be the number?
25 meg down, 3 meg up.
Would be considered
That's
broadband?
considered broadband by the FCC. That was created in 2015. They were just like, all right, we're drawing a line. You can't call it broadband if it's not at least this.
Sure.
And so there are a group of senators who are right now kind of lobbying the FCC. I don't know if that's technically the word I would use with the senator talking to a federal commission, but what do I know?
Whatever you would call it, maybe there's talks happening.
They want them to raise the bar. They say that broadband should be a minimum of 100 down, though I don't see anything about what they want the upload speeds to be. Oh, no. They're saying 100 down and 100 up.
Oh, that would be the new qualifier classification?
I'll tell you right now, the upstream is where they really get you.
Yeah.
Because they just like chokehold on the upstream.
Well, they'll give you a bigger number first, and then you're like, wait, what about the other one?
In fairness, a lot of people, well, okay, let me put that a different way. There was a time when we didn't care about the upstream very much because we didn't send anything up. Like we didn't, but
we didn't
now
send anything back, but now you're working from home a lot and you have to.
All of those Zoom meetings, like classroom, whatever.
While you're trying to watch a movie.
Televisits.
You just can't do it all on the same one.
Yeah, so they're wanting to make it a change. And like the FCC has not basically answered yet as to what they feel about that. But man, right now I'm paying so much money for internet. I'm paying $90 a month.
That's so much money.
It's so much. It's the only, unless I want to get satellite internet, it's the only option that I have. And that gets me 500 down and 20 up. 20.
It's just a lot.
I know.
Yeah.
And they have, I swear, like they
have a monopoly on it. Like
they do.
You can't, well, I mean, it'd be hard for you to go someplace else.
The only other option I've seen is that they are saying that there's 5G available in my neighborhood. And I'm like, I already got COVID. I might as well get 5G.
See if you get a better product at that point.
But man, can we trust T-Mobile? Really? Like,
I don't know.
Can you really trust T-Mobile?
You're not trusting the other one. Like, I don't know why you pay that much for that.
What? I mean, do you want me to get dial-up? Like, it's all I got.
I know. It's just frustration. There's no way to fix it, but we're just frustrated on your behalf.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
That's very expensive for what you're getting.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
But I just don't feel like I can trust T-Mobile, even though technically...
You can't cut your other relationship with your internet provider because if they are the only real true alternative or the one in your neighborhood, what if you make them mad and you have to go back? So, they'll charge you even more.
You know what? Real talk, though, like I'll just say, does anybody use a 5G at-home solution? If you do, you should text us, 877-2RadioU. And you might find yourself using 5G and, you're buffering 30 minutes behind. So if it takes 30 minutes for the signal to get to you, just go ahead and text anyway.
Text us whenever you hear this, okay? Aww.
Yeah.
missed out on the next Riot moment when it originally aired, you don't know how lucky you are. You're listening to the worst of the Riot podcast.
But you do like your classic movies, even though I feel like you haven't brought it up in a while. Are you still watching more, or you just been busy with newer shows?
You know what? I haven't. You want to know what the old movie was I watched? Was it last week? I watched the original Dawn of the Dead from like 1976.
Okay.
1977.
How did that go?
Well,
is it scary or?
It's I if you had showed it to me when I was like young, I guess it would have been scary. As an adult, I didn't find it to be scary at all.
Is that the black and white one I saw on YouTube?
No. That's Night of the Living Dead.
That was different.
This is okay. So George Romero, who made Night of the Living Dead, made 3 zombie movies: Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, Day of the Dead. He's actually made a bunch more than that, especially recently. But those are kind of what are considered his 3 like classic ones. And I just never seen it. And there had been a 4K restoration, and so I was able to get a look at it. And so I sat down and watched it. It was fascinating. What's funny is the zombies are super slow, and it's funny to watch how like they have to come up with kind of like really work at the zombies getting you, because you could clearly, like, you could walk and get away from them. You wouldn't even have to run to get away from them.
It's more if there was like a horde of zombies, like too many, they overwhelm
and they like
you.
back him into a corner.
Yeah.
Or like this one guy, it's like, it's always stuff where like, oh my gosh, my foot's caught on the thing and I can't get away. And I mean, that just keeps happening where you're like, all right, like, come on.
That's the only way to make it work, because they are so slow.
Yeah, because they're so slow. And then we innovated with fast zombies in the Dawn of the Dead remake, which is a Zack Snyder joint. And of course, he's the guy that did Justice League, Watchmen, Superman, like all that kind of stuff. But I went back and watched that, and that was, I guess that's the latest classic movie I watched. It's supposed to be this kind of, it happens at the mall, and they were talking about how it was supposed to be this comment on consumerism in American society, because even when we were dead, we were still
at the mall,
going to the mall. And so there are all these shots of zombies just wandering the mall, and like all this stuff, and it's really weird. It's really weird, and it's not. I didn't even think it was that gross, because it's just so old.
And so that's the one that Netflix has in a few weeks. That one?
No.
The Zack Snyder one?
Well, that's another Zack Snyder thing. Zack Snyder, like the movie that put him on the map, unless I'm really missing it, was his Dawn of the Dead remake that he did. As I understand it, that was like his thing.
His one.
And then from there, he started making other stuff. I admittedly can't remember. I think did he go from that into 300, and then from 300 into Watchmen, and then into Man of Steel, I think, is how that worked. And as you can see, this has been a huge waste of time. And thanks for tuning in.
Are people really still listening to the Riot? You don't have work to do, or laundry to fold, or literally anything else to do? The Riot, Radio U.
What is one thing we all have in common? We all want to steal from the post office, right?
I don't know about that, but maybe. I feel like we need to talk to more people to see if that's a common goal from everybody.
You're telling me that you don't wake up in the morning?
That doesn't drive me each day.
That's
no.
not what gets you out of bed?
That is not. Like, man, I can't just go another day, but what if I could actually steal from them today?
Well, that's just weird.
I guess call us weird.
That's just weird. Okay, so here we go. We've got Bradley Matheny. He owned a company called Matheny's.
Yeah.
And it was basically an eBay-based business that would ship stuff. What he's doing is, it says retail goods around the globe.
So he would buy things and then just resell them on eBay.
Yes, buy things, we assume.
Oh.
We don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows,
Who
Nikki?
knows?
But it was the USPS that would, of course, ship his items to people around the world.
Yeah.
So what Matheny ended up doing and kind of figuring out is like, hey, wait a minute. We don't have to pay for these USPS stamps. We can forge our own. So what he was able to do, and this is what's messed up, he was able to take his mail and packages to the back of the loading dock instead of the front lobby.
Yeah.
So he was not an approved bulk shipper, but he kind of just had a deal with the local post office. Like he ships so much.
I'm sure
they're like, hey, just throw him in the back.
If you do it enough, they'll probably just, have you go in the back because you're bothering by bringing in so many to the front part of the post office.
Oh, look at how smart he is. So there was an 8 p.m. cutoff, too, to drop him off. And he would bring them in just past 8 o'clock. So they would be in a hurry and there wouldn't be time for them to properly inspect the packages.
And he knew that. So he had his own counterfeit stamps and they would just go ahead and pass them through because they were so busy, or it was at the end, no one would pay attention to them.
Yeah. So what he would do. So, okay, for another thing that he had a bunch of different tricks for this. So like he would buy a postage stamp for a 3-ounce package, but then he would alter the stamp to look like it was enough to ship in
for
this
the full.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so then there's just all these different things that he would do. And now I'll just tell you, like the post office, they can get pretty rough. So
you mean rude when you're there?
Well, no, I mean like they come after you. So like he is right now facing up to 65 years in prison.
Guys,
for get a load of this, forging postage on over 28,000 packages.
It's a serious offense because they know that if they get you on enough, then maybe they don't have to raise the price of a stamp for a little bit. Like, it's a nice trade-off. They're not going to just let you go.
No, they won't. Like, it's not just like, hey, come on.
No, it is more than that.
But, I mean, I'll tell you, Bradley, I don't condone what you've done, but I understand it.
Well, I think
it's the hatred that drives us all.
I mean, you've got that, but then you've also got postal workers dumping your mail and, like, throwing it away. So it happens on both sides of the post office.
It's true. You know what, Nick? Here's what it comes down to.
I think it just balances out.
The human condition is alive and well.
Worst of the Riot podcast.
Something that has been driving me crazy, and it's not like this is anything new, but I just keep seeing it over and over again, and I feel like it's more what I see. I feel like if you would break down my social media experience over the last 2 weeks and you would remove the pictures of your cat and the coffee that you bought, okay, like there's
putting those to the side.
But anybody that's producing anything that's like content, like what their thoughts and their feelings or whatever are, I feel like all I see constantly is, I can't believe everybody's mad about blank when they should be mad about blank. That's it.
That's all you're seeing?
That's the whole internet to me. It's just like, I can't believe people are mad about Dr. Seuss when they should be mad about equality. And then it's, I can't believe people are mad about equality when people are dying in concentration camps in China. And then it's, I can't believe people are mad about China when I can't even get a sausage McMuffin.
You're seeing a lot of that. Oh, don't.
Sorry, getting upset.
It's upset him, and now he coughs.
But I mean, okay. Does your social media look like that, or is that just my algorithm?
I think that's your algorithm.
How do I get out of it?
You stop unfollowing and seeing certain people who really project that algorithm.
Yeah.
And then you'll stop seeing it constantly be like the only thing.
Because I feel like I need more cat pics and more coffee pics and a little less.
A couple clicks on this and that, and you should be all good.
I can't believe people want empty-headed nonsense when there's people dying and
Hey, sometimes you need a bit of a break because it can be overwhelming when it's always on all social media.
It just drives me crazy.
And it's who you follow. Like if you're following a lot of people on Twitter and it's just noise, just stop looking there. But if it's okay on Facebook, then, just hide a few people if they always post like that.
Yeah. Okay. So I just need to take a little time and clear the hedges a little bit.
And I don't mean this in a mean way, but also I don't follow a lot of people.
No, I get that.
So
me either.
I'm not getting it pushed at me as much. And then on Facebook, I just don't look through my feed very much.
Yeah. Facebook, I find that I do the doom scrolling when I'm bored.
Yeah.
Which is most of the show. And I mean, aren't you guys bored listening to the show?
That's really the problem then, isn't it?
Yeah. But I just, over the last week, I know that we're always maybe it's just hitting me in my own personal space right now, but people are so angry and then they're mad at other people about what they're mad about.
Sure.
It's like, what? Jeez. The thing that I feel like we lack an appreciation for just as people is the fact that our strength comes in our diversity. Like, we need some people to be upset about certain things that are happening. Now, it doesn't mean that everybody has to be upset about that, because they can go be upset about something else.
Sure.
Now, the key here is, are we doing something to make positive change with the things that we're upset about? And the answer is probably not. We're probably just mad on Facebook. And then we're mad at people for being mad at something else, when in reality, it should be like, man, I sure am glad that they're frustrated about this. I didn't see it. I didn't notice it. I hope they make a positive change in that area. But instead, we just yell at them for being mad about it.
Well, I like Beth's text a lot. Bless and block. Doesn't mean you need to be mean at the person, but just block some when that's all they do is noise.
Bless and block. That's
love
good.
it.
That's good.
Again, be kind. You don't be like, hey, I'm tired of seeing your stuff. You don't have to tell them, but just block them and just stop seeing them.
Don't respond. You're only going to make it worse. And when you respond to somebody, then it's like, oh, they like them. And they'll show up so much more.
Facebook does that the opposite way you think it should.
Absolutely does.
Yeah, I do think just snoozing some people and blocking them, or, not following them, but still being friends is what you need to do.
Well, Nikki, I'm glad to see that I'm one of the only people having this problem, and you're doing great.
Well, I don't follow as many, and I don't look at my feed. So there could be plenty of people there, but I'm just not seeing the noise.
Scroll.
No.
Stop.
No, that's what you're not supposed to be doing.
You're right. I just can't handle this responsibility.
The Riot Radio U.
Many of us, myself included, have wanted to go ahead and have, Transformer statues out on the lawn, just right out front. And there are probably places in the United States
where you can have that,
where you could get away with having your Optimus Prime and your Bumblebee out there. They're 6-8 feet, not life size, obviously miniatures, because Transformers are real and they're enormous.
I feel like you'd have to live on your own property, or like not in a community, because there's rules for statues and stuff.
Yeah. See, here's the problem. There's a guy who we're talking about. He lives in the Georgetown area of Washington, D.C.
Looks like a nice area.
It's a historic district.
Way nicer than we've ever stayed in, but it looks expensive, historic, which also means expensive.
Right.
And that D.C. area, like that's nice there.
And so he has placed Bumblebee and Optimus Prime, and they are not small. I just can't get it to you enough. They are taller than a tall person statues.
It's taller than the door and like the garage door. So just to kind of give you some scale.
And they're out there in front of his house. And they are fighting to take it down. And this is what I love. This is where it starts getting real serious. He's like, okay, look, I have placed these in place of the planters that other people have out front. So I have these. They have plants. Who are you to judge? So their argument is that the city actually owns the planters in front of the houses.
Okay.
And so they are zoned. It's an easement. It's a bunch of property terms that I don't completely understand.
Sure.
And I shouldn't be arguing this in court. But that's the argument that he is going to have in court, in which he is saying, this is my property, I can do this. And the city's like, it's not your property, no, you can't. And the neighborhood watch is like, we are here to make this feel like Washington, D.C., not Universal Orlando. Oh!
So one of the statues is 10 feet tall. The other one is about 6 feet tall. And they have a dispute within the Georgetown Advisory Neighborhood Commission. And they don't want him to have them out. This is a tale as old as time. If you live in a neighborhood and you like eclectic stuff, they don't want that outside.
Yeah. He says that
it's a $4 million house.
You ready for this? It's a reflection of his passion, not just for the movies, but the concepts they express.
Mm-hmm.
The Transformers convey the message of humans coexisting with machines.
Well, they're not coexisting in the neighborhood. So they don't want that, because it's a super nice neighborhood and they don't want the statues of the Transformers characters there. He works at Georgetown University. He's a research professor, and he lives nearby, and that's what he wants in front of his house.
He also has one of these statues inside his house.
And he doesn't want to just put the other one in there, or can it not fit through the door, and that's the whole point of this?
Well, I will tell you that the 10-foot statue is probably... the ceilings seem tall, but I don't know that they're 10-foot ceilings.
So
Plus, you got to get it in the door.
Yeah, you'd have to take them apart. They're saying that Optimus Prime and Bumblebee statues are, you at this point probably able to stay there for the time being while everybody fights. He's not done yet, though. He said that he's never raised a fuss over some of the planter boxes and other things that have been sculptures in front of people's houses. So how is one person able to say one thing's art and the other is this? So he still plans on fighting to try to get them to stay there.
All right. Okay.
He says they believe they're not doing any harm and they're bringing joy.
Do what you want, et cetera, whatever. But man, of all the hills to die on, of all the places to draw the line in the sand,
this is it.
The Michael Bay Transformers films. That's the one? That's the place where you're like...
He likes the characters. He likes the sculptures. That's his thing.
That's it. That's the place where you're like, no!
And he has enough money to fight it, too. Not only have them, but to fight it.
I am so tired of all of this nonsense. Optimus Prime would never put up with this.
Maybe at this point, it feels like I really want to go see what they look like, but...
you've seen the photos, yeah?
Yeah, well, no, in person. It feels a lot like when someone does a big, Christmas display and stuff, and everybody likes to drive by and watch and see.
I don't know, there's a house in my neighborhood that I don't know if you're supposed to or what, but it is the most insane Halloween display you can imagine. It takes him 5 weeks to set it up, 2 weeks to tear it down. That is his thing.
He likes it.
It's weird and creepy, but I've talked to the guy. He's really nice. I go there and look at it, try to be friends. I'm glad it's not on my street, but whatever. I guess if he was my neighbor, I wouldn't like it. So I don't know.
People win awards for being the best at things. Are there awards for the worst? Because we have a contender. Worst of the Riot Podcast.
I'm not going to make you raise your hand, but you'll know who you are when I say this. You're the one that knows how things work, and so they all call you when it doesn't work.
It doesn't work. Family, friends, we've all been there.
And then if they've become angry or frustrated with the thing that doesn't work, sometimes you're on the receiving end of their emotional...
of the frustration.
Their frustration and feelings of it not working. I sometimes find myself saying to people hey, it's this that's broken. It's not me. I didn't break it. It's not on me. It's not even technically my job to fix it.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll say that with a smile, okay? So let's keep our relationship where we think it is, and that is you're a friend and I'm helping. Okay, let's be nice to the helpers.
Sure.
Let's be nice to the helpers.
That is important to remember.
But the people at Apple, Nikki, they feel your pain.
Yeah.
They feel my pain.
They just want to be there to help you enough so that you don't get mad at them so you still buy their stuff.
So what they want to do is they have, apparently they used to have these classes at the Apple Store. Didn't know that.
Oh, you never knew that?
Nope.
Yeah, you could always go in and they had the computers with the little chairs around them and you could go in especially kids if they wanted, you could have a little class.
Well, they are offering online virtual sessions, they're calling them, for free that would teach you how to use the basics of your iPhone, your iPad, or your Macintosh home computer.
So you can watch these for free to be able to get help if you need something, since they don't want you still going in the store unless totally necessary, and you might still need some help with your product, though.
So what I've been looking at is I thought they were just, say, YouTube videos, but apparently they are you can schedule a class. So it would be you and a few other people virtually with an Apple person, and they're going to explain how to use your item.
Nice. Not a bad idea. Even if they still had in-person teaching at an Apple store, it'd still be nice to have these virtually because not everybody wants to go in.
Yeah, you might have friends or family members that aren't comfortable going in there.
To us, Obie and I are pretty competent when it comes to our tech. So we very rarely have to go and ask for help or we'll just figure it out ourselves. But I remember I was looking at just a new laptop and I was in the Apple store and the lady next to me was there to speak and get help. And she didn't want to have an Apple ID. She didn't want to create one.
Oh my gosh.
she was so mad because she thought she shouldn't have to create one. And I just felt so bad for the support staff there because they were just having to talk her through it. But she was mad and there was going to be no happy answer because, you have to have an Apple ID. And I just remember sitting there going, I don't want to.
It's what's that noise? That's Chris laughing.
Chris is over there. And I just remember being like, I don't want to sit here while you're having to do this at the table with me. And I don't want the poor person to have to talk to this lady. So keep it virtual. Just keep it there.
Well, here's the thing I thought that was kind of nice about this is that maybe they are better at teaching it. Because one of the things that I struggle with sometimes is that when you encounter somebody and you have to teach them like how to use a piece of tech, and so much of it to me is completely intuitive. Mm-hmm. Of course you would do it that way. And to them where they're just like, that's why on this earth would you do that? And you're like, this is going to be a long session here.
It's going to be a long day.
Like we're just...
Well, it's nice that Apple's doing this, but just a friendly reminder so you're not, forgetting about this. You're still going to have to hold your parents' hand to sign up for this class in the first place.
Well, yeah.
And sit with them while they're going through the class.
Good chance that's true.
So if really you just think, well, maybe you just go ahead and fix it for them in the first place. So you have to go through it and waste your time.
I get that. My hope, honest to goodness, is that like they have a curriculum that will, they're used to working with people that don't know, and so they really know how to help them. That's my hope.
Some people will need the tutorial just to be able to sign up for the class in the first place.
Yeah.
So good luck, everybody.
Yeah.
Good luck.
The worst of the riot is over, but the fun can keep going.
Hey, I saw you checking out my goods.
Check the Riot blog or stalk us on social media.
You want to sample them? A little try before you buy, huh?
Through riot.radiou.com.
I don't have a social life or friends.